Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, and we are back with another video. And this is part 7 for the normal version for what if Naruto was a full Uzumaki and rebuild the Whirlpool village. So, guys, I'm actually recording this outside because I couldn't really finish my script on time last night, so I kind of had to go outside to record it. Uh, so, if you hear any wind or any other sounds, like don't be alarmed or anything. But anyways, I know you don't really care about all that, so let's skip the bullshit and get right to the recap. So Naruto's Genin won all of their matches in the preliminaries, and during the 1 month break, Naruto mastered the QB power, and he trained all his Genin. So Naruto, he went to the 5 Kage summit and he became a Kage, which is something I failed to mention before. So basically, he becomes a Uzushiogakure. And anyways, he warns the other Kage about Obito and the Akatsuki. And during the final stage of the Chunin exams, the Konoha crush does happen, and Naruto helps the Hokage in exchange for custody of Orochimaru. And he later finds the truth about the Uchiha massacre, and he kills off Danzo and the elders. And he takes away all of Danzo's Sharingan. And he meets Hinata and Sasuke, and he becomes friends with them. And he seals Sasuke's curse mark. And they meet Itachi, and Naruto tells Sasuke the truth, and um, he brings Sasuke, Hinata, and Itachi back to Uzushiogakure. And Itachi comes because Naruto offers him Shisui's eye in return for coming to his village and being a ninja of his village. So basically, then the time skip to Shippuden happens, and during this, Naruto does get Snake Sage mode, and meanwhile, Sasuke does unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan. So alright guys, let's get this part started. So a couple of things I forgot to mention in the last part are Sasuke and Itachi both got the EMS, the Eternal Mangekyo, and this is because Itachi gave Sasuke Fugaku's eyes, and he used Shisui's eyes to, get the Eternal Mangekyo. For some reason, people think that swapping Mangekyo Sharingan eyes gives both people involved the EMS, but actually the sets of Mangekyo Sharingan have to be superimposed on each other, meaning that uh, there should be two eyes in each socket, basically. So four eyes in total. And so basically, this means no exchanging eyes. So Naruto, he healed Itachi and he cured his illness, and because he learned medical ninjutsu from Tsunade. And Hiruzen retired from the position as Hokage, causing Jiraiya to find Tsunade and make her the Hokage. And they told Tsunade about everything that happened with Naruto, and she was shocked, as expected. Anyways, other than that, Gaara also mastered Shukaku's power with Naruto and Yagura's help, and Hinata and Naruto started dating as well. Also, the events of of Naruto the movie Clash in the Land of Snow happen, except it wasn't much of a challenge for Naruto to bring Koyuki back to her rightful place as princess and stuff. So this creates an even stronger alliance between the Land of Snow and Uzushiogakure, making Uzushiogakure much more futuristic due to all the technology from the Land of Snow. So, also, Orochimaru injects Hashirama cells into Umi, Kei, and Raiju Uchiha so that they don't go blind through overuse of the Mangekyo Sharingan. So, now let's start with the Shippuden part. So, I don't really know when the events of Naruto Shippuden, the movie, happened in the timeline, but I'm just going to say they happen now in the start after the break. And Naruto easily saves Shion and destroys the spirit monster. So then Naruto asked Shion to come back to his village with him, and he would always protect her. So then Naruto and Shion, they got together. They started going on out on dates and stuff. So there will be three people who are Naruto's girlfriends basically, and these people are Karin, Hinata, and Shion. So Naruto goes on dates with these three, having some fun and some of the good shit, uh, he basically does like some 18 plus shit with them too now. So basically, Yagura, Kimimaru, and Haku would often tease Naruto, saying that for someone so powerful, he is quite a playboy. And Gaara wouldn't participate in this teasing, but he would smile to himself as it happened. So, anyways, one day Gaara was sent on a mission to gather intel on the Akatsuki, as he was a special Jonin. So this meant that in the real world he would be able to fight a few of the Kage at once and be on par with them. So, anyways, this was when he ran into Deidara and Sasori. So Deidara got his clay dragon and he fought against Gaara. And Gaara got onto his hand and started flying after Deidara. He was easily able to catch up as he trained with Naruto, and that gave him much better control over his sand. So he caught Deidara's arm and he crushed it. And Deidara, like just like in the original, he put tiny bombs into the sand that was crushing his arm. But Gaara sensed these bombs and he uses other Kekigenkai. Yes, his training unlocked another one that he didn't even know about. This was lava release. So Gaara did a few hand signs and the sand around Deidara's arm turned into lava, melting all the bombs and burning Deidara's body. And it wrapped all the way around Deidara's body as Deidara screamed in pain. And Gaara, he then hardened the lava and he turned it back into sand, and he then crushed Deidara's entire body using the sand burial technique, and Deidara was dead now. So he was like, my village and I researched about that one. There was no point in letting him live. You, however. And he said this as he turned to Sasori, who was looking angrily at him. And Gaara was like, Sasori of the Red Sands, named after the great scorpions of Sunagakure and the bloodshed witnessed after his most legendary battle. I have something to discuss with you. And Sasori was like, make it quick. I hate waiting. And Gaara nodded and said, and that is because you spent your entire childhood waiting for your parents to show up and later found out that they were dead. Am I right? And Sasuke was shocked knowing that seeing that Gaara knew his history, but he hid his surprise. And he was like, and what of it? That does not matter to me now. I do not affiliate myself with anything like that anymore. And Gaara chuckled and said, oh, Sasori, how you contradict yourself. Are you aware of the fact that your grandmother, Lady Chiyo, who is an elder of the Hidden Sand Village, has created a ninjutsu that allows herself to transfer her own life to one of your parents' bodies just for your sake? She did all of this just to find out that you left the village. She was heartbroken and she knew that any of your parents she revived would have also been heartbroken. So she decided to hold off in reviving them. To this day, she is waiting for your return, inching closer and closer to her inevitable death. Are you really going to let your grandmother, who loves you so much, die without finding closure? And die without meeting her grandson again? And this got to Sasori, and he got out of his Hiruko puppet to show Gaara that he was in tears. He then said, thank you, Gaara of the Sand, for helping me open my eyes. I'll return to the village with you now. And Gaara was like, not so fast. See this headband? I am no longer from the Sand Village. I am now a shinobi of the Whirlpool Village. Our Kage is a kind man who never exploits anyone. But he does have a little bit of disdain towards puppet users. He and our shinobi are so powerful that if we were to fight all the other five nations at once, we would easily win. Sasori was confused. He was like, what? Back up a little. You defected to this village that can take on all the other five great nations at once? I don't believe you. And Gaara was like, the reason I defected was because my village tried to use me as a weapon. But the Uzushiogakure helped me find my way back to the light, and he became my closest friend. As for Uzushiyogakure's power, would you like to see it for yourself? And Sasuke agreed, and sorry, not Sasuke. Sasori agreed, and Gaara used the flying Raijin, which Naruto did teach him to teleport back with Sasori. So Naruto saw Gaara and Sasori and was like, ah, Gaara, so you did find Sasori. Well done. And Gaara smiled and said, but I also saw Deidara, and he had to be killed. Naruto, he nodded and he welcomed Sasori, frowning a little at his Hiroku puppet. And Sasori noticed this and he said, Gaara told me you don't like puppet users. Why is that? And Naruto was like, Sasori, what ninjutsus do you know except for the puppet master jutsu? I'm sure that you are good at taijutsu because you are a puppet and you control yourself to fight. And Sasori said, but I have 300 puppets to use, so why would I need other ninjutsus? And Naruto was like, alright, but let's say an immensely strong opponent destroys all of them. What do you have to fall back on? Is your taijutsu going to allow you to fight someone like that? And Sasori just looked down and he scratched his head. And Naruto was like, with that said, I have to admit that you are still strong, but I would like you to train under one of my shinobi to use ninjutsu. I don't think you should use genjutsu because I don't think you're that type of shinobi. I hope you can become a shinobi of my village, but if you don't want to, I will let you go on your own way, provided that you don't join the Akatsuki again. And Sasori was surprised seeing Naruto's intellect, and he could tell that Naruto was stronger than anyone who he had ever fought, who he had ever seen, including Pain. And Sasori then said, "I want to become one of your shinobi, but I also want to be with my grandmother. And believe me, I am done with the Akatsuki." Naruto then said, "I can arrange for you to meet your grandmother whenever you wish, even if you become one of my shinobi." Sasori was like, "How?" And Naruto then took Sasori's hand and he teleported to the entrance of the sand village, where he left a flying Raijin seal. And Sasori was amazed, and Naruto was like, "My work is not done," as he walked with Sasori to the Kazekage office. Now, Baki was the Kazekage because, Gaara was in Naruto's village. And Baki was basically Gaara's team sensei when they were in the Chunin exams. So, yeah, and then when they met Baki, Naruto explained the situation to him, and Baki agreed to bring Chio. And when Chio saw Sasori, they had their touching reunion, and Chio told Sasori that she was going to revive his mother. And Sasori, he flat out disagreed, as he said that he wanted Chio to stay alive, as he was never loved by anyone as much as he was loved by Chio. And this got pretty emotional, and Naruto gave them some space. And after they caught up and stuff, Naruto gave each of them a flying Raijin kunai and told them to pass chakra through it whenever they wanted to meet each other. Naruto also told Chio that she could pass chakra through the kunai if the village was in trouble, and he would be happy to help. And Chio and Sasori were happy with this, and Naruto took Sasori back to the village. And of course, he would later teach him the flying Raijin jutsu so that he could, go on his own to visit Chio. And anyways, Naruto then asked Sasori for intel on the Akatsuki, which Sasori gave him without hesitating. Uh, by the way, Naruto already knew most of this intel as he got it from Orochimaru, but just for plot's sake, let's just say that Orochimaru did not know Akatsuki's goal when he left. So now Naruto did know about Akatsuki's goal, so Naruto was like, it seems my suspicions were correct. They are after the tail beasts. I knew that the Sage of Six Paths created them using the creation of all things jutsu, but I did not know that the tail beast came from something else. The 10 tails. Must be one hell of a powerful thing. And Kurama from inside Naruto was like, Naruto, switch places with me. I have to explain about the 10 tails. Call all your high ranking officials here. And Naruto did as he was told, and Kurama gave his a little history lesson basically. And so then Naruto decided that he should train all the other Jinchuriki in mastering the power of their tail beast, so that he could make them all ridiculously strong, like strong enough to take on the Akatsuki. So he was like, "Alright, so including myself, there are 3 Jinchuriki in my village. That leaves 6 more. 2 from Iwagakure, 1 from Kirigakure, 2 from Kumogakure, and 1 from Takigakure." And guys, if you don't know, Takigakure is a village hidden in the waterfalls, basically like where Fu is from. So, anyways, he created 6 earth clones which were reinforced with his chakra, and he sent them to find the strongest chakra signatures around. So they found all the Jinchuriki except the ones in the Cloud Village. So they told the Jinchuriki what the situation was and asked them to join them to come to his village so that they could train and become stronger, so that they could protect each other. And Fu, who was the 7 tails Jinchuriki, readily agreed. The other 3 didn't think that Naruto was strong enough, and even though their tail beast warned them that Naruto was ridiculously strong, so they should watch out. Um, at least for the 5 tails Jinchuriki and the 6 tails Jinchuriki, because they were like kind of on good terms with their tail beasts. So Yeah, so Naruto said that they could spar against him to see his strength, and he said that he would not use his tail beasts as he wanted to show his own power, but he allowed them to use their tail beast power. So first, let's see what happens with Roshi, the four tails Jinchuriki. Naruto overpowered him easily when he was in base, so he used his four tails lava body state, and Naruto was like, that lava will be troublesome. I have to try to get it to harden. So he said, water style, whirling Rasen torrents, as he threw the jutsu onto Roshi and it completely encased him. And due to the pressure, the water was that was turning to steam because the lava was turning back into water. And this continued until Roshi stopped using the form and went straight to the Four Tails form. And Naruto was like wood style, wood binding. Yes, Naruto has wood style. He even had it in the original, guys. Like, come on. Both Ashura and Hashirama had it before, so there's no reason for him to not have it. He's like a reincarnation of them. I, and and like even in Boruto, when Naruto gets his Hashirama cell arm, he should be able to use wood cell. I don't know why he doesn't. But I guess it's because of the strongest jutsu in Naruto, which is Kishimoto Forget no Jutsu, guys. Anyways, Naruto learned some wood cell ninjutsu as he was actually smart enough to figure out that he has it, and I'm the one who's writing it. Uh, so Naruto what is Forget no Jutsu doesn't exist. So Naruto bound Roshi up and he suppressed his chakra to return him to his base form. So Naruto could have used something else like the chakra chains, but he wanted to try using wood release in battle as he had not done that before. So Roshi then said that he would like to come with Naruto. Next we go to Han, the Five Tails Jinchuriki. Han was a bit more challenging as his boil release made him really fast. However, Han's speed was nothing compared to Naruto's. so Naruto wove a few hand signs and said, lightning style, cage of paralysis. Yes, this is a jutsu that Naruto himself invented, and he's going to have quite a few of those. Anyways, Han was now trapped and he was paralyzed by the cage of lightning. So he unleashed the Five Tails chakra and he broke free, and he went into his Five Tails form. And Naruto he wove a few more hand signs and he said Uzumaki style sealing jutsu, chains of hell. And basically his adamantine chakra chains suppressed Han's chakra and they pulled him onto the ground until only his head remained. And and Naruto actually like found a way to you know extend his chakra and use his adamantine chains from like a remote location. So basically they didn't have to be connected to his body anymore. So yeah, this was a jutsu that he invented like that. So anyways, uh, so only Han's head remained above the ground, and Han then decided to go with Naruto to Naruto's village. So now for Utakata, the Six Tails Jinchuriki. Utakata's bubbles proved to be a bit of a challenge, but Naruto still didn't really have to try. Naruto said lightning style, Rasen Senbon, as lightning needles pierced all of the bubbles, causing Utakata to go into the Six Tails form as he didn't really have another option. So Naruto trapped him in Earth style rock prison, but Utakata just slid out, as though he had a soapy slime all over him. And Naruto's like, must be the Six Tails power, slippery as a slug, I guess. And Naruto then uses Uzumaki chains to, catch Utakata and try to suppress his chakra. But before he could fully suppress the chakra, Utakata slipped out again. And Naruto's like, I'm sorry, Utakata, but I have to do this, as you are a tricky one. And Naruto then wove some hand signs and said, Earth style, impaling jutsu. This pierced Utakata's limbs and his tails, and this incapacitated him, and it caused him to revert back to base form. Naruto then healed him, and Utakata came back to Naruto's village. And Now the biggest challenge is approaching the Two Tails Jinchuriki and the Eight Tails Jinchuriki. I mean, it wouldn't actually be a challenge if Naruto wanted to, go in guns blazing, but Naruto wanted to be diplomatic and not cause a lot of trouble with the other villages. So Naruto approached the Raikage and explained the situation to him. First, the Raikage laughed and said, "I'm sure my brother and Yugito can handle themselves." And Naruto then said, These shinobi are very powerful. They can take on the tail beasts, and also one of them has a Rinnegan, the most noble of the three great dojutsus. It was the dojutsu of the Sage of Six Paths. And Raikage was shocked, but he was confused as he didn't know much about the Rinnegan. Naruto explained the powers of the Rinnegan, but the Raikage didn't believe him, and he was like, "How do I know that you are not bluffing to take away my village's jinchuriki?" Naruto said, "It's their decision whether or not they want to come to my village, but I am a clone, so I can stay here to train them." The Raikage laughed and he was like, "I don't think you're strong enough." Naruto said that if he can defeat both Jinchuriki and the Raikage all at once, he should be allowed to train them. The Raikage laughed again as he didn't think Naruto would be able to do much, and he agreed. And Raikage gave Naruto the time and location of their fight, and they all met on Unraikyo, which is the place where Killer Bee lives, at sunset. So Naruto then said that the fight can begin. So as soon as the fight began, the Raikage charged at Naruto with his lightning cloak, and Naruto engulfed his fist in wind release chakra, and he punched the Raikage in the gut with, Tsunade's strong punch thing, that cha thing. So and this caused him to cough out blood and go flying into the cliff that was around the location. So, anyways, B and Yugito then try to blitz Naruto, and Yugito was like having her Wolverine claws out, and B was using his eight swords, and Naruto used Earth Release Rock Prison to trap both of them. But they both did a Tail Beast transformation and broke out, and Naruto was like, it seems both of them are perfect Jinchuriki, like me. By this time, the Raikage was back on his feet, and he used the full version of the lightning armor. He charged at Naruto, who wove a few hand signs and said, "Wind style, vacuum bullets." And one of them hit the Raikage straight in the chest and it exploded, knocking the Raikage out. B and Yugito attacked using their tail beast balls, but Naruto responded by transforming into Kurama himself. He didn't really need to do this, but he felt like showing off. And Kurama made a tail beast ball bigger than the other two combined, and he fired it at the other two. And the other bombs were instantly destroyed and Kurama's tail beast bomb hit Matatabi and Gyuki. And this defeated both of them as Killer Bee and Yugito reverted back into the base form. Matatabi and Gyuki healed them enough to continue fighting, and the Raikage regained consciousness. So they realized that they all had to work together to beat Naruto. So Killer Bee and Yugito transformed again, and all of them charged at Naruto, who went into Snake Sage mode. He said, "Sage art, inorganic reanimation," as the surroundings warped and completely bound all three of them for long enough for Naruto to shout, "Lightning style, black lightning." This surprised all three of them, as it was Darui's and the third Raikage's jutsu. But they all got knocked out hard by the lightning, and Naruto freed them and healed all of them. They were all shocked as Naruto didn't even break a sweat. There wasn't even a scratch on him. The Raikage then was like humbled and he agreed to to let Naruto train B and Yugito. Then he remembered Naruto was actually a clone, and he was pretty ashamed to be defeated by a clone. But he realized that this must be why Naruto's Genin would probably even give many Jonin a serious challenge, or maybe even defeat them. And Raikage asked Naruto how his shinobi trained to get this strong. And Naruto gave the Raikage a layout of how the shinobi system in his village works. And Naruto said, "In our academy, in addition to teaching those aspiring to be shinobi, we also give them what you guys call D and C rank missions as assignments. Our Genin do D and C rank missions, which would qualify as B rank missions in your villages. Our Chunin do B rank missions, which would be A and S rank missions in your villages. Our Jonin do A and S rank missions, which would be threats to the entire world in your villages. And we also have a secret method of training that is our village's secret. So I don't want to tell you about it." The Raikage nodded and he was pretty jealous of Naruto. If Naruto was telling the truth, his village can take on all the other villages combined. Yeah. Anyways, Naruto trained B and Yugito, and even the Raikage joined in a few times. He mastered the Black Lightning Cloak thanks to training with Naruto, which is pretty OP to be honest. And so now I will be going over all the powers that the Jinchuriki gained. And by the way, all of them unlocked a tail beast cloak, which allowed them to make arms out of chakra and stuff. And their general taijutsu speed, strength, and skill all increase as well, along with their previous skill level with their Kekkei Genkai. Which and they could also like imbue their Kekkei Genkai into their tail beast bombs. So you guys already know about Gaara's lava release, right? But now let's talk about his One Tails cloak. So his One Tails cloak is basically a sand body with Shukaku's black sealing marks on it, and it allowed Gaara to generate sand out of his own chakra and integrate the sealing marks into it. Other than that, he trained a lot in earth, wind, and fire release ninjutsu. So let's continue. So now let's continue with Yugito. And Yugito unlocked the Kekkei Genkai of Scorch release, which is fire plus wind release. So she was able to make tail beast bombs that integrated this into them, and her tail beast cloak was basically made of blue fire, and it allowed her to use this fire to enhance the taijutsu, enhance her taijutsu, like how nature energy can be used to do this in Toad Sage mode. So if someone dodged her attack, she could extend blue fire to wherever the person was now, and even engulf the fire and wind release to make a blue scorch release, which is kind of a one-shot kill. So now let's move on to Yagura. Yagura learned a lot of earth and water release ninjutsu, and Yagura's three tails cloak was kind of a crystalline structure, but obviously he could still get the enhancements of the tail beast cloak, and he was still able to like move easily and stuff. So his cloak could attach a coral to whatever Yagura wanted to put a coral on. He just had to touch it with his chakra, and he could also control the shape, size, and density of the corals even after he attached them and he moved somewhere else. So now let's move on to Roshi. Roshi learned a lot of fire, earth, and lightning ninjutsu, and he could even run orange lightning chakra through his lava, and his cloak was basically his lava body. Uh, so like he actually already had one. However, he trained it to such an extent that he himself could turn to lava and back, like Suigetsu. Except the only way to stop this was to either trap all the lava or use an extremely high water ice release ninjutsu to cool him down until he solidifies. So now next is Han. Han trained in fire, water, and earth release ninjutsu, and his cloak was OP as hell. Han's cloak was him wrapped in a cloud of steam, and using his cloak, he himself could turn into steam and also have the benefits of boil release that he already had. He could turn into steam and like dissipate into the air and reform elsewhere. And like Naruto actually didn't really find a way to stop this, except like catch Han off guard, because his reaction speed was still faster than Han's. So yeah, next was Utakata. So Utakata trained in water, earth, and wind release ninjutsu, and his cloak was transparent with a pinkish tint, making him like really difficult to see. So even if something caught him, he would be able to slip out with ease. And even if something impaled him, right, he would just turn to slime in that area where the thing impaling him would be, and and the thing that was impaling him would basically be destroyed as the slime was corrosive. And he also had the ability to turn into corrosive slime, and the only way to stop this was like Suigetsu, you had to pass a lightning ninjutsu that was of extremely high caliber. Only something like Chidori, purple lightning, and black lightning would work against him. So next was Fu. So Fu trained in water, wind, and lightning ninjutsu, and Fu also learned to imbue uh, her seven tails chakra glitter that she uses to blind her opponents with lightning chakra, making the powder even more brighter and more dangerous. Because if the lightning glitter touched the opponent, they would basically be electrocuted with orange lightning, which is between blue and purple lightning in power level. So Her chakra cloak literally made her completely invisible to all shinobi who weren't sensory types. So the glitter would basically encase her body and literally bend light around her, and this made her invisible. So even her chakra arms and tail beast bombs in this state were invisible. So yeah, it was pretty OP. So now moving on to Killer Bee. So Killer Bee practiced lightning, water, and earth release ninjutsu, and his cloak was completely black, coated with sticky octopus ink. And this ink was poisonous, with the ability to seep through the opponent's skin. And only Killer Bee had the ability to neutralize this. So yeah, and the only defenses were any kind of armor. If the opponent had the chakra control required to pass chakra through the affected area before the poison spread too much, they would be able to recover as well. And Killer Bee could control the toxicity of the ink, with the ink being able to kill within 5 minutes at maximum toxicity. So if the opponent was touched by this and wanted to survive, they wouldn't be able to kill B. And B could also use his ink to trap opponents and gradually thicken the ink until the opponent couldn't move. And the only counter to this ink was a strong water release ninjutsu, as it could dilute the ink enough and allow the trapped person to move again. Now finally we move on to Naruto himself. Naruto still had the same benefits of the Nine Tails Cloak version 2, and as in the original, but he also had the ability to use Baryon mode on a whim. If you don't know what Baryon mode is, it's a mode that burns chakra to create a new power. This was used in the Boruto manga against Ishiki Otsutsuki, who could body both Naruto and Sasuke combined. And Naruto was so powerful that neither Ishiki nor Sasuke could even track of his movements. And yeah, whenever Naruto landed a hit, right, he would dramatically decrease Ishiki's life force. Yes, guys, that is OP as hell, and that's why I'm giving Naruto that ability. However, I will say that he can only use Baryon mode for half an hour at a time, as it would take a day to recharge fully, as Kurama had to gather enough nature energy to regenerate his chakra. Anyways, the recharge time would be shorter if Naruto uses it for less time, obviously. So Naruto trained with this to such an extent that even if he used Baryon mode to its fullest extent, he would still be able to drop out of it and continue fighting in base form as if nothing happened. And obviously, with this, all the Jinchuriki got full cooperation from the tail beasts. So now the Akatsuki is like no match for Naruto and the other Jinchuriki. So Yugito still ran into Hidan and Kakuzu during one of her missions, but this time things went so much better. Yugito went straight to her Two Tails cloak form, and when Hidan tried to slice her to draw blood, the blades on his scythe literally melted. And Yugito blitzed Hidan with Scorch Release punch, and this basically mummified Hidan, and this pretty much killed him. So she was like, and that leaves you. And she said this like turning to Kakuzu, and Kakuzu knew that this wouldn't be easy, so he let out all of his hearts at once, and Yugito was like, nice, let him out it all in one go. And she did her tail beast transformations, and she launched a tail beast bomb imbued with like Scorch Release, and this destroyed all of the hearts, as Kakuzu died easily, and Yugito still lured this is because Yugito still lured Hidan and Kakuzu into the cave, and you know uh, and Kakuzu and his heart's movements were restricted to inside that cave, and the tail beast bomb like basically destroyed the cave pretty much. So now only Pain, Konan, Kisame, Zetsu, and Obito slash Madara were left in the Akatsuki. And by the way, all of them knew of Itachi and Sasori's betrayal, and they all were pretty pissed. And Pain told Kisame to go after Naruto, as his chakra absorbing sword Samehada was the only thing that could really work against Naruto's insane amount of power. And Pain knew that he had to keep Naruto restrained so that he wouldn't get even stronger. So he told Kisame to kill Itachi and Sasori while he was at it, and Kisame flatly refused, and Pain threatened to kill him, as his refusal would basically be him betraying the Akatsuki. And Kisame decided to go and at least have a small chance of survival, as he hoped Naruto would spare him, because he knew that Pain would kill him if if he stayed. And Pain warned Kisame to approach Naruto only when he was as isolated as possible, so that the chance of capturing him would be at the maximum. And Kisame nodded and he left. So it just so happens that Naruto was actually on a world trip right now. He wanted to visit the other shinobi villages and see how things operate there. He was also like very familiar with the cycle of hatred and stuff, and he wanted to see how exactly this plays out in the other villages. So during his travels, Kisame met him, and Naruto looked at him and said, "Ah, Kisame Hoshigaki, finally decided to man up and face me, have you?" And Kisame gritted his teeth, and Naruto was like, "I want you to tell me why you became a rogue ninja." Kisame shouted and told Naruto that the world was full of lies, and Naruto was like, "I'm afraid it is, and you seek the truth, do you not?" And Kisame nodded and told Naruto that the Akatsuki promised to help him seek that. And Naruto said, "Looks like the Akatsuki is full of lies as well. There are three truths that they have been hiding from you. The first is that Pain isn't a true leader. It is actually the one who calls himself Madara Uchiha. Second is that the masked man is not Madara Uchiha. He is actually someone whom I strongly suspect of being Obito Uchiha. Third is that your project is incapable of bringing peace to the world." And Kisame told Naruto that he knew about the first one, but he didn't believe the second and third things. And Naruto told him, um, and Naruto told Kisame that if the masked man was really Madara, he would be over 100 years old by now, and he would barely be able to even like walk. And he also told him about the difference in the Mangekyo Sharingan ability, and Kisame, he finally believed him. And Kisame was like, "What about the third thing? How will your plan? How will our plan fail to create peace?" And Naruto let Kurama take over as Kurama explained the whole thing about the Ten Tails to Kisame, who finally understood. He then swore loyalty to Naruto, who promised to never lie to him about important things. So yeah, guys, Naruto did recruit Kisame. So now we shift to what's happening in the leaf. So Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Hiruzen were having a meeting, and Jiraiya told Tsunade and Hiruzen three things that his spy network found out with immense difficulty. One was that Naruto's village had defeated 6 Akatsuki members, 3 of which were now part of his village. He told them the details like who he killed and who he took custody of, and then he told them the second thing. And the second thing was that Naruto's village had 7 jinchuriki, including Naruto. The third thing was that he found the location of the Akatsuki leader and he was going to go gather intel. So all three of these things shocked Hiruzen and Tsunade as they forbade Jiraiya from going. But Jiraiya being Jiraiya, he just left anyways. So Jiraiya was actually a perfect sage now. Yes, I forgot to mention that before. Jiraiya trained with Naruto to master Toad Sage mode, and he was able to take out 4 paths of pain. But the Naraka path revived them, and Jiraiya was about to get impaled by the chakra rods as he grew tired of fighting, and the pains were still coming at him. So Jiraiya then took out a flying Raijin kunai that Naruto gave him to use anytime he was in trouble, and he passed chakra through it. He thought, "Please, Naruto, if the time you spent together with your godfather ever meant anything to you, please help me out." And Naruto wasn't showing up as the pains got closer to Jiraiya. So Jiraiya gave up and he passed out. And suddenly there was a crash as Naruto appeared. He wove a few hand signs and said, "Ninja art, summoning, steam toad." As a huge toad appeared and it crushed 3 of the pains, which were the Asura path, the Prera path, and the Naraka path. The human path, the animal path, and the Deva path all jumped away to avoid the toad. And yes, guys, I did copy Koji Kashin's move from the latest Boruto episode. Like, if you aren't following what's going on there, guys, you're missing out like a lot, fam. Like, anyways, yeah. So there's this like episode where Koji Kashin, who is a member of the Kara, he meets Boruto and his team, and he goes like, "Kuchiyose, Boira Gama." And yeah, sorry guys, I just had to do that. It sounded so cool. Anyways, yeah, so the toad disappeared, and Naruto easily took out the rest of the paints. And Devapat tried using the Chibaku Tensei or the planetary devastation, but Naruto just looked at the black orb as it's and he like as it started going up, and he went into KCM 2 enhanced with Toad Sage mode, and he blitzed towards it and he smashed it with a single punch. And Nagato was shocked. He tried continuing his attack, but it was pretty much hopeless at this point because the Shinra Tensei, which was the Almighty Push, and the Universal Pull, they both weren't working on Naruto because of the Ninetales power. So, so yeah, and Naruto destroyed the Deva Path, and he did the same reverse tracking thing with the chakra rods, and he found Nagato and Konan's like actual location. And Naruto then looked at Jiraiya and he was like, "Well, are you coming, Jiraiya Sensei?" And guys, I am giving Naruto like a cool, like more deeper voice. Like I'm not giving him that crappy female voice actor voice that he has in the original series because that sounds lame. Okay, so I'm giving him the a cool sounding voice, and this will be a pattern with all of my what ifs. Okay, so just imagine it that way. So, anyways, he was like, "Well, are you coming, Jiraiya Sensei?" And when Jiraiya heard Naruto call him that, he was overwhelmed with emotion and he teared up and hugged Naruto. Naruto was like, "Oh, fine, just this once," as he hugged Jiraiya back. And Jiraiya thanked Naruto for saving him, and he asked Naruto whether he really thought of him as a sensei or if he is actually just using him. And Naruto smiled at Jiraiya and said, "Well, obviously I think of you as a sensei. I may have already been strong, but you completely erased any negative feelings that remained in my heart, and you guided me towards the light. However, I still resent the third Hokage because of what he did to the Uchiha clan, but you still managed to remove my hatred towards the Leaf. I admit that I was using you at first, but I gradually grew to care about you, pervy sage." And Jiraiya was just really happy about this, and he didn't really care about Naruto calling him pervy sage, and he went in for another hug. But Naruto held up his hand and stopped Jiraiya, and he said, "Hug me later. First, we have to deal with the real pain in the ass." And Jiraiya laughed at this, but he grew serious and told Naruto about Nagato, Yahiko, and Konan. So Naruto and Jiraiya now went to Nagato's hiding place to talk no jutsu Nagato and Konan. So during this time, Naruto, told Jiraiya about his life and how he trained the jinchuriki and how he found out a lot about the Akatsuki, and the Akatsuki's final goal, Akatsuki's real leader and stuff like that. And Jiraiya, like this was really valuable intel for Jiraiya. So Jiraiya, he was really like thankful to Naruto for telling him all of this. So anyways, when they finally went to the hiding place, Jiraiya and Naruto, they saw Nagato and Konan, like Nagato was like all emaciated, sitting there with the rod sticking in his back and stuff. And Naruto was like, "I see why you're called Pain now. You decided to be in a pain in the ass because you yourself have a pain in the ass." And Jiraiya kind of laughed at this, but Nagato didn't really find it funny. And Nagato just looked up at Naruto and he said, "I am out of chakra. Kill me if you wish. I guess then you would have your revenge for me hurting your beloved sensei." And then Jiraiya, he does this talk no jutsu, and Naruto's like, uh, we both are students who went our own ways after training under Jiraiya sensei, but it looks like one went the peaceful route and uh, one followed the cycle of hatred. And you know Nagato, he considered Naruto's words, and he slowly like started coming back to the good side and stuff. And Konan, she always follows what Nagato does, so she also like started like understanding. And finally they managed to convince Nagato and Konan to come back to the good side. And then Nagato's like, "But even if I am on your side now, it is useless. Instead of coming with you, I'll sacrifice myself to save all the people I've killed." And Naruto was like, "That won't be necessary. and he blitzed Nagato and he took out all of the rods that were stuck inside him, and he basically healed him using Tsunade's healing jutsu, and he even went into Slug Sage mode to boost the healing process, and Nagato's returned to his usual state, like before he got impaled by all those rods and stuff. So yeah, basically, Nagato and Konan both thanked Naruto, and uh, they decided to come to Naruto's village with him. So yeah, now Naruto has Nagato and Konan on his side, and his village can pretty much take over the entire world, and it already could before Nagato and Konan came. But then, like if some really strong shinobi comes up, like even if Madara came up with all of the Edo Tenseis, like it would be pretty easy for Naruto's village to just like take even them on plus all the other five villages. But anyways, I'll stop rambling on now because it's already been quite a while, and you know, yeah, that's it for this that's it for this part of the what if, and the next part we will be starting the war arc, and I'm not sure what else we'll be doing in that part because like I haven't written the script yet. But anyways, the next part will be coming. Which day is today? Today is Monday. So yeah, next part will be coming on Friday. So anyways, if you like this video, give a like and subscribe to my channel, and comment down any other what ifs you want me to do, and comment your thoughts on the video. And thanks for watching, guys.